Charlie's death was the catalyst. Apparently, Charlie dying kicked it off because it just seems to be falling apart in the past few days since Charlie's death. And the left is they're lefting. They're on X lying about everything. They're CNN, MSNBC, all the mainstream media is still pushing lies. They learned nothing from this situation. They caused this situation, but they still did not learn that if they would stop for a minute and just think about what they're about to say, that there might not be violence. But instead, no, they want to double down. I have an article from Common Dreams talking about Trump inciting a civil war. I have people upset that Charlie Kirk is getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I think we talked about that one already. There was a bomb threat at a DNC building at the DNC headquarters in DC. There was a shooting at a school. Police, it seems, shot the wrong person. And then I just got some stuff on X that I want to talk about. I mean, I guess. I mean, J.B. Pritzker and Newsom are the real big story here, pushing this Civil War narrative. It's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, obviously, no one here is pushing for a civil war. If anyone's trying to cause a civil war, I'd argue it's the Democrat Party because they keep saying that they want it, basically. I mean, you get people acting in revolutionary ways, and then you sit there and say, gee, I wonder who the revolutionary is. And they say, it's you. It's the guy who's telling everyone to calm down. You're such a revolutionary lunatic. You're such a madman. It's infuriating. Like, why do these people do this? Clearly, they are out of good ideas. They've never had good ideas. And they are running on, well, we don't have the ideas to beat them. So let's just say crazy shit and see what works. You know, as it goes, I guess. Let's get into it. We'll jump right in and we'll do the news. So this is just when you type into Brave, and this is like a 6-paragraph breakdown of it. You type into Brave, Trump pushing civil war to win midterms. And it reads, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and California Governor Gavin Newsom have stated they believe Donald Trump is preparing to use military force for voter suppression in Democratic-leaning areas ahead of the 2026 midterm elections in an effort to prevent Democrats from regaining control of Congress. This is concerned as follows a September 6, 2025 post on Truth Social featuring a war imagery from Apocalypse Now, which Pritzker described as the threat of war against an American city. Shut up. This is why people get shot. It continues. The discussion centers on Trump potentially invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807, a law that grants the president. And I want to point out, I'm not saying that we're going to go shoot someone when I say this is the reason people get shot. I'm saying this is the reason people do things like attempt to assassinate the president and attempt to assassinate successfully Charlie Kirk. This kind of speech is the reason things like that happen. So to continue, the discussion centers on Trump potentially invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807, a law that grants the president broad authority to deploy military forces domestically to suppress insurrection or domestic violence. This power was previously used by John F. Kennedy during the civil rights crises in the 60s. Legal experts note that the Supreme Court has ruled the president has exclusive authority to determine when such a crisis exists, making their decision legally conclusive. There are reports that Texas National Guard troops and federal officers are being positioned near Chicago at Naval Station Great Lakes, rising fears of a federal intervention in major Democratic city. Raising fears of a federal intervention in a major Democratic city. Critics argue such a move could serve to provoke violence that Trump could then use as justification for imposing emergency measures and restricting electoral processes in urban cities where Democratic votes are concentrated. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner who has stated he would prosecute the National Guard members or federal agents who commit crimes in the city, emphasizing that Trump cannot pardon such offenses. The governors of 19 Democratic states have jointly condemned Trump's actions as an abuse of power and a politicization of the military. Some analysts argue Trump is not seeking a literal civil war, but rather a surrender or a submission from political opponents using intimidation and authoritarian tactics to consolidate power. Others suggest the goal is to create a pretext for declaring a national emergency that could delay elections or justify a police state, aligning with plans outlined in Project 2025. I don't know how many times I have to say Trump completely denounced Project 2025. Representative Maxine Waters has previously warned that Trump and his allies are pushing the country towards civil war, citing his rhetoric about potential violence if he were not reelected. She stated, "I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation. I believe he is working toward a civil war." She emphasized that Democrats would not be provoked into responding violently. Yeah, they won't be provoked into responding violently. That's why they fucking shot the president and they shot Charlie Kirk. Yeah, no, Democrats don't respond violently. That never happens. Donald Trump was shot. Charlie Kirk was killed by Democrats. So let's go over to this story from Common Dreams. Is Trump inciting a civil war 2.0 to steal the midterms? Both J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom have explicitly said they believe Trump is preparing to use troops for voter suppression in blue areas of the country during the 2026 elections to prevent Democrats from taking Congress. This is exactly the rhetoric I'm talking about when I say the left is saying things that is getting people, that it is radicalizing people, and they are going out of their way to commit violent acts. This kind of rhetoric needs to stop before more blood is spilled. If they don't stop saying things like this, more blood will be spilled. It's obvious that Trump is not trying to kick off a second civil war. Trump is sending troops, National Guard troops, to cities with high crime rates that aren't doing anything about the high crime rates. That's all this is. That's all this has ever been. It is the most absurd thing to me that they sit there and say over and over and over again, time and time again, oh, Trump is inciting a civil war. Trump is inciting a civil war. No, he's not. No one is inciting a civil war. I would argue that the left is inciting a civil war by trying to murder people all the time. I mean, you get one side of the aisle that is responsible for mass shootings, that is responsible for attacks on presidential candidates, that is responsible for attacks on people like Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. Famously, Steven Crowder has the footage where the Antifa members give undercover Louder with Crowder employees weapons in case they see Ben Shapiro. Like, what? And then nobody did anything about it. It's something that we see over and over and over again, and it's only from one side. The article reads, last week, U.S. President Donald Trump posted a stolen valor war meme on his failing Nazi-infested social media site with the Bone Spurs draft dodger wearing a U.S. Army cavalry hat and the slogan paraphrased from the movie Apocalypse Now. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Okay, that is just so wrong on so many. First of all, it's not stolen valor. Okay, it's just a picture from the movie with Trump's face on it. That's not stolen valor. You can't steal valor when it's a fake person from a fake movie. That's not how stolen valor works. You're a moron. Whoever wrote this article, you're an idiot. Oh, Tom Hartman, you're dumb. Second of all, Nazi-infested social media site with Bone Spurs draft dodger, with the Bone Spurs draft dodger. All you're doing is inciting more rhetoric, more violence. That's all you're doing with this. You're not accomplishing anything. You're not talking to anybody. All you're saying is Trump is evil. Go do bad things to people that like him. That's all you're doing with this article. You want to sit there and say, is Trump inciting a civil war? No, motherfucker, you are. So how could this play out? It's important to begin the conversation and planning for what appears to be the Civil War 2.0 that Trump's apparently trying to incite. There is literally no proof whatsoever that Donald Trump is trying to incite a second civil war. That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. First, there's precedent for the federal government to send federal troops into a state to enforce the law as ordered by a court. That's all that's happening. Laws are not being enforced, and Trump is sending in National Guard to aid with the enforcement of the laws that are currently not being enforced. JFK did it in the 62 Ole Miss crisis to enforce the Supreme Court's Brown v. Board of Education, moving up to 31,000 federal troops, including the 503rd Military Police Battalion, the 108th Armored Cavalry Regiment, and soldiers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions. Kennedy also sent federal troops, and readied thousands near Birmingham, Alabama during, violent resistance to those same federally mandated desegregation efforts. These are two completely different things. Trump is sending National Guard in to aid in law enforcement and deportations in cities that have rampant crime and insane numbers of illegal immigrants. That's all that's happening. But they're going to sit there time and time again and tell you, no, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi, and he's taking over, and he's going to destroy America, and he's going to steal the election. Because they're preparing to lose. They already know they're going to lose. There's no chance they win, especially not after Charlie Kirk was murdered. There's no way. Anyway, let's move over to our next story that just continues. Every story is just Trump is an asshole. That's all it is. This story comes from Raw Story. A slap in the face. Trump's Charlie Kirk honor announcement sparks outrage online. Speaking during a ceremony commemorating the September 11th attacks, President Donald Trump announced that he would be posthumously awarding right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, an announcement that sparked outrage online, with critics decrying it as a slap in the face to 9/11 victims. Are you serious? There's a quote. Did I just hear Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth read from the Bible and honor Charlie Kirk at the 9/11 remembrance? And now the Orange Pedo is saying he's giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk? An ex-user wrote, first of all, what does... It's a day of remembrance and a day of honor for fallen Americans. They're remembering and honoring a fallen American. And you're mad? Okay, yeah, he didn't die in the 9/11 attacks. Okay. He died the day prior. In 2025. He died September 10th, 2025. There's a lot of people that are not offended by this. Go touch grass. Stop being offended by everything. Pete Hegseth can't read from the Bible. That's okay. This is one of the things that really gets under my skin. As conservatives, as Christians, we get shit on. Over and over again, time and time again, we get shit on. Just continuously. It just continues to happen. It never stops. We're not allowed to read from our Bibles if we want to show our respect to someone. We're not allowed to speak about our religion. This is so ridiculous. This statement is completely ridiculous. It's insane. It's insane. And then we have from NBC Washington. DNC headquarters searched for bomb due to threat, later deemed not credible. Why? Well, what are we proving by what is anyone proving by planting a bomb at the DNC? Honestly, at this rate, I wouldn't even be surprised if the DNC, if the Democrats planted this bomb, if there was some Democrat activist that planted it. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying if it was what happened, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. I could totally see some Democrat activist planting a bomb to try to sit there and say, to essentially false flag attack the DNC and say, oh, look, they're getting retaliation for Charlie Kirk because they think it was Republican or they think it was Democrats that killed him. So they're going to blow up the DNC. I guess. These people are unhinged. These people are not mentally well. I don't know what's wrong with these people, but the left is dangerous. The left is very dangerous. So it reads, U.S. Capitol Police searched the Democratic National Committee headquarters on Capitol Hill on Thursday after a bomb threat was received and then found to be not credible. Senate officers received a notice informing staff to avoid the headquarters as police responded to an incident. Capitol Police are responding to an incident at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. Staff are asked to remain clear of the police activities. More updates are forthcoming as the situation evolves, the message said. U.S. Capitol Police said after being alerted to the threat, they did not find anything outside of the building. Out of an abundance of caution, they were checking the interior of the building. This was a big nothing burger. I wouldn't be surprised if this was some sort of false flag. The left has gone so far with this stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if they were false flagging. I'm going to be completely honest. Now, this might have been some lunatic that was like, you know what, they killed Charlie. I'm gonna send him a nice bomb threat and go on with my day. I doubt it. I really doubt it. I don't believe it. And then we had a student shot at a naval academy in Maryland. That's rad. That's really rad. This comes from NBC News. Student shot after mistaken ID mishap with officer during Naval Academy lockdown. A law enforcement officer shot a student at the U.S. Naval Academy on Thursday during a lockdown that was prompted by online threats from someone who had been kicked out of the institution, a source said. The shooting on the Annapolis, Maryland campus occurred after the midshipman, which is what all students at the academy are called, mistook by a responding law enforcement officer for a threat and struck the officer with a parade rifle used for training, the source said. What? That's hilarious. So the student takes a parade rifle, which I think they're just dummy rifles. I don't think they function. I think it's just it's a rifle with no guts. I don't think it can fire. They might be able to fire. I'm not sure. And he struck the police officer with this rifle that's used for ceremonies. It's a ceremonial thing. It's not like a function. Usually they're like M1 Garands. And this kid was just like, nope, not today, Jack, and whacked a cop with it. Like, that's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. The student the law enforcement officer shot was hospitalized and expected to be okay. Helicopter video from NBC affiliate WBAL of Baltimore showed someone being wheeled out on a stretcher to a waiting state police helicopter. The lockdown was prompted by anonymous threats made on social media by a student who had been kicked out of the academy. That student was not on campus, but used an IP address to make it look as though they were, according to the source. The student believed to have made the threat was at home at the time, the source said. That's wild. Like, that is wild. I mean, good on this student that was like, hey, my friends are in danger. It might not be a working rifle, but when in doubt, your rifle works as a really big baseball bat. I mean, good on that kid. Good on that guy. Well, I don't know how old this guy is, so I good on that guy. Good on that guy for saying, I'm not going down without a fight. Good on that guy. As for the officer, without seeing body cam footage, I really can't say too much about it because if somebody swung a rifle at me, I would probably not just take that. I would probably defend myself, especially if I'm responding to what I believe is a mass shooting or a shooting threat, at least. I would definitely respond with deadly force. Uh, I mean, hey, that kid's going to make a good. I assume he's going to be an officer when he gets out, so he probably won't be able to land nav. But I can't land nav either, so we're in the same boat, homie. But yeah, good on that. Good on the student. Good on the student for. This was a completely. This was a situation that was completely avoidable. There was no reason for this situation. All this situation required was a little bit of communication, and this would have never happened. I don't know what happened. I didn't see body cam footage. I don't know if we will see body cam footage. But if we do see body cam footage, I'm willing to bet we will see this dude probably came around a corner, saw the cop, and whacked him with the gun. The cop probably hit the ground and then put a round in the guy. That's probably, if I had to guess, that's the only way it makes sense. Otherwise, the cop would have been, giving orders, drop the weapon, get on the ground, so on and so forth. I don't see how this happened anyway other than they either ran right into each other or they rounded a corner and came face to face. And the student whacked the cop with the gun, and then the cop shot the student. That's the only thing. And it was just a miscommunication. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't happen, but that is the unfortunate possibility when you go on the offense in these situations. You have to understand that you run the possibility of being shot. You run the possibility of a friendly fire incident like this because, well, I mean, simply put, the cops don't know that you're the good guy. If you are there, and even if you have a firearm, if they're responding to a shooting and you're there with a firearm, they're going to assume you're the shooter. You have to clearly communicate with police that you are not the shooter. If you're responding to a situation like this, you cannot take the risk. They are going to respond to a shooting. They're going to see someone with a gun and assume that is the shooter. As soon as you see or hear a police officer, you need to drop your weapon and get on the ground. If you're responding to this situation, as soon as you see them or hear them, drop your weapon and lay down on the ground. Don't risk it. The professionals are there. They're going to take care of it. Unless you're in Uvalde, Texas, in which case I have no advice for you because the cops don't do anything. They sit there and wait while there's a gunman in the school. I mean, that's way to go, Uvalde. Let's take a look over at X. Let's take a look over at some of these ridiculous people. These people are just scum. You got this lady. This lady is terrible. Just like all the buzzwords. Nazi, fascist, bigot. She hit all of them. She hit all of them. She didn't even try not to. I mean, like she's just a fucking cunt. Fuck this lady. And then we got the Pawn Stars guy, Corey Harrison, saying, why is this something that's only happening on one side of the aisle? We don't see Republicans doing this shit. We only see Democrats doing this shit. Stephen King, he's being a cunt. So, fuck that guy. I want to call out JoJo from Jurors. I hate this woman. I really do. She says, hold the fuck on. Kash Patel, and a whole lot of other peoples, hid the fact that the shooter had been taken into custody so that Donald Trump could announce it on a morning news show the next day. Are you fucking kidding me? First of all, shut up. You know, I know, everybody knows that's not what happened. You're so full of shit. Everything this woman says is a lie. Everything Joe says is a lie. This woman can't not lie. She is the most compulsive liar I've ever seen. Every post I see from her is bullshit. So I told her, I said, don't pretend like you care, cunt. You just want to hate Trump. You'd fucking see us all shot down like Charlie if you could. You don't care about justice. You just care about clicks. Get fucked. And I stand by that to this day. There are so many videos of I don't share the videos because they're fucking atrocious. Here we have there's so many videos of people celebrating Charlie's death is what I was going to say. It's disgusting. Here we have Denver shooter, trans. Aberdeen shooter, trans. Nashville shooter, trans. Philadelphia shooter, trans. Colorado Springs shooter, non-binary. Iowa shooter, gender fluid. Minneapolis shooter, trans. Charlie Kirk shooter, and a trans partner. The people that identify as trans have been told for so long that people like you, like me, that people like Charlie Kirk want to see them genocided. I just put it simply. They've been told that we want to see them genocided for so long. And none of it's true. Obviously, nobody on the right wants to see a genocide. It's no surprise that they're taking up arms and they're trying to stop people that they have been told for, most of these people are my age, they've been told for the past 10 or 12 years that these people are going to genocide you, these people are going to murder you, these people are going to kill your friends. It's what they've been told for how long? 10, 12 years? No wonder they're picking up weapons. No wonder they're doing things like this. Here we have Charlie Kirk's assassin had a trans boyfriend, called Charlie a fascist, confirmed leftist by friends and family, confirmed leftist by top officials on record, including governor, killed one of the most iconic conservatives in history, and yet leftists will still claim he's right-wing. These people have no shame, no integrity, no honor, vile and repugnant to their core. Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely. Matt Walsh is 100% right here. I have seen over and over and over again, these people are saying, well, he was a Trump supporter. No, he wasn't. This dude was not a Trump supporter. This dude was the antithesis of a Trump supporter. Like, this dude doesn't understand anything that we stand for on the right. What's this one? Oh, yeah, that's funny. If the shooter turns out to be Hispanic, build a wall. If the shooter turns out to be Arab, ban Muslims. If the shooter turns out to be black, BLM are terrorists. If the shooter turns out to be white, Democrat, leftist, trans, Antifa, lone wolf, crazy. Literally anything to deflect besides a white man. Well, that's because most of the time when a white man is a shooter, it's a trans person, or it's an Antifa person, or it's a leftist. It's not deflection when it's the truth. What's this guy? I like how they put this chart up. Mass shooters in U.S. by gender identity, 1966 to 1920 or to 2025. Well, considering that transgender's only been a thing for about 2 years, and you're going back, I don't know, what's that? 60 years? Yeah, I would say maybe shut the fuck up. Maybe you just do mass shooters in U.S. by gender identity from 2023 to 2025. I bet you this 0.5 and 97.4, I bet you that inverts immediately. Like, are you serious? From 1966? You're going back that far? Come on. This is just disingenuous at best. Miriam Hurley, you are nothing but disingenuous. I mean, come on, these people are so full of shit. The only thing I do on X is just get angry. I don't know why I use X. It just winds me up. I'm really like, I get so rowdy on X, dude. I just want to fight with people and argue on X. I really want X to get. I want my X account to get bigger so that I can argue with more people. I really just enjoy beefing with people on X, and I don't know why. I was like, for a minute, everything Gavin Newsom posted, I was just like, no, shut up. Just anytime Gavin Newsom posted anything, my response was, no, shut up. You're dumb. Don't talk. But, here we are. So, It looks like the world's on fire. It looks like everything's upside down. And it looks like things are not getting any better. It doesn't seem, to me at least, that the left is trying to. The left is not trying to tamp this down. The left is just trying to continue to push. And the left continuing to push is what has caused this in the first place. So they're going to double down on their rhetoric once again. They're going to lie some more. They're going to tell you that it was Nazis and fascists and that Trump is still a Nazi fascist and that Charlie was a Nazi fascist. And let me tell you something. Anyone that is sitting down with you and saying, let's talk it out, is not a Nazi or a fascist. The people that are wearing all black in their uniforms that are burning down cities are the fascists because we don't like what you said. You posted something that we don't like, so we're going to burn down a city. That's fascism. That is fascism. Fascism is not let's sit down and have a conversation about it. That's not fascism. It's not. Fascism is burning down a city because you disagree with someone's opinion. That's what fascism is. Through its core, fascism is everything the left embodies. They are the real fascists, not you and me. We're not it. That's all I got. I will see you all in the next one. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to check out the YouTube channel where you can catch this full show. I'm, out of respect for Charlie, in Charlie's honor, I'm just going to continue putting the whole show up until YouTube bans it. That's what I'm going to do. And I believe I'm already shadow banned. They already took down a video. I might already be shadow banned. Whatever. It's no skin off my teeth. I'll make another account. I'll just keep making accounts. They can just keep banning accounts. I don't care. But yeah, so tell your friends, if they don't have Rumble, you can still catch the show on YouTube, provided YouTube doesn't take it down again. They took down the episode regarding Charlie's shooting. I might have said offensive words. I might have said bad boy words. I don't know what I can say on YouTube, so I'm just kind of winging it. So, yeah, figure it out eventually. But yeah, that's all I got. So I will see you all in the next one.